I'm getting some questions in the group over on Facebook, although you really should be asking questions here on YouTube. I spend a lot more time on YouTube and I will see them faster. But I'm hearing concern about the economy and what is going to happen to sales. And I'm here to give you the same advice Arthur Dent got. Don't panic. It's going to be okay. People asking are basically friends of mine, long-term friends that I've had, met in other reselling groups, been to conferences with and such. And they know that I've been an investor most of my life, had real estate properties, investment properties, rental properties, do a lot of stock and bond trading, treasury bills. Now I'm really into real money, so I put a lot of my assets into Bitcoin because I want to have my money in the future instead of it just being wasted away. And that's pretty much what the economy's all about, is how fast does the dollar shrink versus our incomes. I've got my master's in business, my MBA with an emphasis in corporate finance, and I know all about microeconomics, macroeconomics, supply and demand, Samuelson, everybody, the Austrian School of Economics, which is what I ascribe to. But in general, the only economics we care about is what's our money doing? And if we have any money, how fast does it erode away based on inflation and taxes and everything else we have going? As of the time of this recording, March of 2025, we've spent the past 4 years, our economy has been crumbling because the private sector jobs have been basically being destroyed while government sector jobs have been increased quite significantly. Now, as that happened, they have to go into more debt and debt and debt. The U.S. government does. They've got to print more money, and the value of our money drops because of that if you have your money in dollars, what we call fiat currency. Now, the current administration, they're trying to reverse that. They're trying to get rid of the government sector jobs in hopes of increasing private sector jobs. Now, before, the increase in government jobs put a bad strain on our economy. It made the dollar drop in value like crazy, as it always will, because the US dollar is not a real asset. It's just a phony made up number. And this isn't conspiracy. It just is. But now, tens, 100, more, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of government employees are losing their jobs, and they have to go try to find jobs in the private sector and actually work and produce for a living. No, I didn't say that. But that's not going to be easy for 100,000 plus or minus, maybe a lot more people to just automatically find jobs. Now, fortunately, the job market has been very tight. Even in the past 4 years, businesses just have a hard time finding good employees. And by the way, all of this relates to eBay. And you're going to see I'm on both sides of the fence here. I'm getting ready to talk about the current situation. So just bear with me. When 100,000, I don't know how many tens of hundreds, tens, thousands of employees in the government are being put out of work because they're just not needed and they have to find a real job in the private sector. That's not easy. And that's going to put a strain on our economy. It's not going to be pretty for a while. It might fix the other problem eventually, but for a while, our economy is going to really be strained by that. There's going to be a lot of unemployment. There's going to be just a lot of problems as people try to find work, and people aren't going to have as much money overall in the economy. Just consumers won't have as much because a lot of those consumers were getting paid by the government, which means American taxpayers. Now they're not getting that. They're getting paid by the American taxpayers not to work with unemployment. But that doesn't last very long, and it's not as much money as they were getting. People have less money to spend right now. It might correct itself, and maybe getting rid of those incredibly bloated government jobs had to be done. It probably did. And will eventually help reverse course, and the private sector will eventually absorb all these people as the economy grows. That's the idea. Will it work? I don't know. I wish I were a prophet, but I'm not a prophet, so you can't stone me if I'm wrong. But the bottom line is we're still going to have economic troubles as a nation. And by the way, as the U.S. goes, so goes the world. We're pretty much the cleanest dirty shirt in the laundry worldwide. The U.S. dollar is kind of the cleanest dirty shirt in the laundry worldwide because it's the strongest of all the currencies and it's not very strong. So we're not out of the woods, and we may not get out of the woods. This may not fix the problem. What does it mean for us, we who rely on sales every day for a living to provide for our families? Well, I think it bodes pretty well, believe it or not. I think the more and more people are out of work, looking for work, start to find jobs, start saving money, start cutting their spending because they just don't have as much as they used to, they are going to be forced to go to a cheaper way of living, which includes secondhand clothing that's good and nice, used books as opposed to just going to Amazon and ordering 20 books, 18 of which you don't ever get around to reading that are new. You're going to be buying more. By you, I mean the people are going to be buying more used goods, pre-owned goods, pre-loved goods, saving their money, looking for ways to pay the least they can to get the most they can. And guess what? eBay's a great place for that. As a matter of fact, you might think of Amazon whenever you think of shampoo, but you should be looking at eBay because resellers have to pay a lot of money to sell on Amazon. It's just not worth it. It's a failure to begin with. Don't try to sell on Amazon if you haven't started. The odds of your success are almost zero. Some people make it very well. Someone's going to post a question or a comment on this thread, and I'm thrilled if he or she does, saying, well, I've had great success with Amazon, far more than eBay. Fantastic. That's not the norm. The norm is most people blow out on Amazon. They spend a bunch of money, they work real hard, and they just can't make it. eBay, you're able to buy things cheap and sell them for a lot. And eBay's seller fees are so much lower than Amazon's. And I believe that in the last 4 years, eBay's done pretty well. eBay sellers. I know there have been pockets of times that you haven't done as well as you did. There have been other times you've done pretty well. That's going to last for the next 4 years at least, up and down. But in general, we're not going to see a huge decrease. What about Macy's department store? They're going to see some problems. What about fast food places? They're already seeing all these places are already seeing problems. Major restaurants, Applebee's, they're all reporting problems with customers not coming in. I just heard convenience stores are beginning to feel it. They're not selling as many Doritos and chips and pop as they used to. That's really big because that's kind of the last bastion of evidence that even the lowest of the lowest income people spend a lot of their money on junk at convenience stores. Even convenience store sales have been dropping. So those people have taught themselves, we'd better start buying maybe a loaf of bread and a jar of peanut butter for the same price we spend for a bag of Doritos and a Mountain Dew. People are beginning to be forced to be wiser with their money. And guess what? That will make them better people. But we benefit, eBay sellers, we benefit. We're the pre-owned kings and queens of the internet. eBay has been around longer than any other reselling platform in its current form. It hasn't changed a whole lot from like the first year it was in business, other than it used to be all auctions and now it's mostly buy it now, fixed price. So I say stay strong, stay firm, put one step in front of another. And what do you do to improve your eBay business? The same thing you always do. List at least one item every day. I hope you list more than one. I'm talking about every single day, 7 days a week. If you go out of town, if you on Sundays have family time, then batch an extra listing up on Saturday or Friday and schedule it to go off on Sunday, or go online and just click to trigger that listing on Sunday morning. If you're going out of town, put your store on vacation, but still allow sales, and you can ship them whenever you get back. And if you go out of town, I still want you to list every day. Just schedule at least one listing every day that you're going to be gone. That will be listed by itself automatically. eBay allows that. It's free of charge, doesn't cost you anything. List at least one item every day. Same thing you always do. First picture must have a white background. Must it have a white background? eBay no longer says, we force you, we want you to. eBay no longer even says that. eBay says we prefer it, but they don't say we really want the white background because no seller was doing it statistically. We were, but hardly any other seller was. But all your pictures must be square. If they're not, you are not making sales that you think you should be making, because on some cell phones, some smaller screen cell phones, they're not seeing your whole item because you didn't take all your pictures in square mode. I've shown you the dangers of not taking square pictures before and how it cuts off your photos, and people are going to go to another seller that did it right so that they can see the whole item they're buying instead of only seeing the middle portion of it. I want you to fill out all item specifics that apply, even the optional ones. The ones that don't apply, leave blank. I want you to do comps. Find out what your item's selling for before you buy it and make sure you can profit off that item as long as you sell it in the general range that it's been selling for. What do you do in this bad economy that is continuing from the last 4 years, that probably will continue for a while longer at least? You do the same thing you do every day. Try to take over the eBay world. That's what you do. You put one step in front of the other, and the more you list on eBay, the more money you will make. The more you list on eBay, the more sales you will make. The more items you list on the average every single day, the more sales you will make on the average every single day. It's a fact, Jack. It's not my opinion. It is the way it is. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. This is my 26th year. I know about the economy. I know about finance. I'm telling you, this is the place to be. Well, and Bitcoin, but I can't offer you financial advice, but I can offer you eBay advice. You need to stay on eBay and go all out. If sales have been a little bit low, go all out and double and triple your listings. Just do it. Just try it for a while. Hey, wake up an hour earlier and get 10 extra listings done. Well, it takes you longer to do it. Well, then get 5 extra listings. Wake up an hour earlier, 21 days, 3 weeks in a row. Just wake up 1 hour earlier. And all you do for that 1 hour is list, list, list. Maybe you can only get 3 items listed every single day. After 21, that's almost 70 items you've listed. After 21 days of 3 extra listings that you wouldn't have done otherwise because you were a little sleepy and you woke up an hour earlier, but you did it anyway, you're going to start making more sales. You're going to start making more money, more sales cure a lot of ills. Stay strong. Don't let the media's economic woes trouble you. They're almost never correct anyway. The only thing you focus on is eBay, eBay, eBay. List, just source and list, source and list. If you have a mountain of death pile, get rid of that death pile. You start doubling and tripling up your listings. You are going to find that we are in the honey spot if the economy gets even worse. We are where the money is going to flow.